Welcome back to the series of tutorials. In the last class, we observed a simple JDBC application. After that, we slightly upgraded the JDBC application with different methods. Each method is going to perform a different operation. One is find by ID, and the other one is find all. These are the methods we observed in the last part of the video. Now, here we observed a lot of code noise or boilerplate code, so that we are going to transfer into another class. Say for example, this connection establishment related all code, we are going to transfer from each method to a separate class. So whenever any method wanted to get a connection, that method is going to call the other helper class to give a connection. That let us see now. So for that, we are going to define one more class. Here, this is the project. Here, let us define one more class, class. Here, instead of a DAO, let us define a package helper. The connection name is, class name is connection manager. So this is the class which we are going to create now. Now, in this class, let us define a couple of things here. There, for example, I want to call a method. That method will give me a connection. After all, for giving a connection, do I really need to create connection manager class object? No, not necessary. So, in what fashion I have to define methods here? Yeah, a single method it is enough to define. That should be a static method. Public static. The method name is get connection. Okay, so this string is just a placeholder for data type, but not actually a string here. This should be a java.sql.connection object. Which connection object is it? Java.sql.connection. Make sure to import from java.sql package. First step we have done. Now, in the last step of exercise, how we got the connection object. In both of the methods we have connection object. So the same code block which has given us a connection, that code block will take into the current program. Right click, copy, and go to class. Here you do all the necessary formal steps here. What are the formal steps? String variables. After string variables, class.forName, driver manager.get connection. These are all formalities. Okay. So here where we have driver manager.get connection and all. Here, yeah, let us write. Here we cannot take from the previous program. Even we can take, that is not a big issue. Let us try with taking from the previous program. What all we have? Class.forName, the driver class string what we have declared here. Did you notice so many error lines it is indicating, error messages, error indicators it is showing? Those errors are just exception related errors. So statement we don't create here. Statement let us create after a moment. We'll discuss where we are going to create the statement. Now, whatever connection we have created here, let us return that connection. Done. But how to fix these errors? Before fixing the errors, let us think about what is the error. The suggestion is you can either use a try-catch block or you can use throws declaration. Syntactically, anything is perfect, but we have to choose out of these two. If I used try-catch blocks here, what connection it returns in the case of exception. So I'm not supposed to catch any exception here, any of the components. As per layered architecture guidance, layered architecture design principles and design patterns, we're not supposed to catch any of the exception in the lowermost layers. We have to re-throw the exception into previous layer. It means higher level, means layers towards the presentation. Okay, layers towards the presentation. So, as per that guidance, the try catch block, using try catch is not recommended. So, what is recommended? Throws. Yes, this throws declaration is recommended. Now, class not found exception, and then the other one is again SQL exception. Done. These two exceptions finished. All errors are fixed now. And one more important thing, we need to make this instantiation of this class from anywhere outside. What do we need to do? We have to prevent instantiating this class. How we can make the constructor private or protected, so no one can call this constructor from any other package can call this constructor. Okay, right, get back to the actual class where you want a connection. Here I want a connection. Okay, so let us remove all this boilerplate. What all boilerplate we need to remove? Driver related strings, let us remove, and then this try with resource, again we don't need this try. The reason that we are going to discuss after a moment. And here this class even not required. This total try with resources not required. Now connection, yeah, SQL connection, java.sql.connection con equals to, yesterday in the previous session we saw driver manager.get connection, whereas now we are not going to use driver manager.get connection, connection manager.get connection. Connection manager. Sometime back we have defined a class in helper package. Okay, connection manager dot get connection. In that way we get a connection. Okay, now statement equals to connection dot create statement. Done. Almost all boilerplate code we have get rid of. Okay, the similar way here in the other method, I will remove all the string variables and these two lines, connection creation and then statement creation, including with the parenthesis of the try block. Okay, so class dot for name even not required. Connection con drop connection con equals to connection manager dot get connection. Now statement equals to connection dot create statement. Done. Now here whenever we have completed our task, simply we are closing the connection. Okay, whenever as and when we have completed our activities with the connection object, we have to close the connection. But did you notice that we did not do? In order to do that, where we can do either immediate the while loop completed, we can close the connection. Similarly here, once the if block completed, if and else has completed, then we can close the connection. So right, but the best practice is after the catch block, mention a finally block. Okay, here we should close the connection. But again there is challenge. What is the challenge? Connection con is not accessible here because that will be declared within the try block. So outside the try block we cannot access the connection. The scope of the connection is only the try block. So in order to properly close the connection. The declaration now we need to change. What we need to change? This connection con, the declaration portion we need to put here equals to null. Okay, so the same thing again, that same thing we do in the other method as well. Now this connection dot close. The connection dot close method again throws exception, so you need to properly catch the exception using try catch blocks. Again there is a challenge, exception catching we are not supposed to do here in the lower layers. All of the exceptions to be bubbled up to the previous to next to next, like the topmost layers in the up to the presentation layer. That is very strong recommendation here, so we should follow that. So here, in order to do that, what we have to do, one best practice is you are not supposed to catch. If you caught, what you have to do, you convert the caught exception into business specific exception and then rethrow it. What we need to do, we need to define a specific a business specific exception, instantiate, wrap this exception into our business specific exception and rethrow the business specific exception. That is the recommendation. Okay, right. What we can do here in exception package, define one more class called database internal exception. This is purely custom exception. We can go ahead with this. Here, exception subclass. Now, if you did not observe what I have done yesterday, now you observe again. Here, I did not write any single line of code. Total, I retrieved, I have defined all parent class constructors, superclass constructors. Okay, so this is all enough. Now what to do? After catching the exception, the next step, database internal exception, right? So throw new database internal exception over the E. E means whatever exception you got here. Okay, so the same again we will do here. Try catch. After catching, don't catch, after catching, don't kill the exception, don't terminate the exception. Again here you need to create the similar step what we have done the last time. Throw new database internal exception over throwable E. Done. Now again it is showing error. What is that error? This is custom checked exception, so either you have to catch here or you have to declare with the throws. Okay, so you have to choose the declaration of throws. Okay, now error has gone. This is the way you have to properly close the connection and safely close the connection and safely throw the custom checked exception. Okay, the next thing, the same things again we are going to repeat for this find all method. What is that? First connection con equals to null, then after catch let us write a finally block. In this finally block, access the connection and then close. Okay, now what we have done last time, it is showing, indicating some error message because it is throwing some exception. So what you have to do, use try catch blocks. After catching the exception, convert or wrap the java.sql.exception to new database internal exception wrapped over E, and then you throw this. The same you do here also. Now the error is, since you are not catching the exception, you have to mention with a throws declaration. That's all. Okay, so this is about the find all methods, and we prevented or we removed, reduced almost all boilerplate code. Is this completed? No, not yet. Only two operations we have simulated so far. What are they? Only find by ID and find all, but we did not test these operations. Let us test. Yeah, by the time of testing, did you notice one more error here in the application? What is that? It is throwing multiple exceptions, database internal exception it is throwing. Are we catching there in the DAO class methods? No, we are not catching there in DAO methods. So those DAO layer methods, again what we are doing, we are converting into business specific exception. For example, database internal exception, and we are rethrowing from DAO methods. Those exceptions comes into the application. At least in the application you have to catch the exception. Here what is the option? Add catch clause to surrounding try. This is the recommended option to choose here. Done everything. Let us execute. Run as Java application. We got all the records. For example, if you want to retrieve a single record, but you don't have the ID which you want to search is not existing there, what is going to happen in that case? Let us see even that now. Here single student student equals to student DAO object anyways I have there. So student DAO dot find by ID 101. Now let us remove this portion for time being. Now what is the problem here? Earlier no error was there, but find by ID, that ID may or may not exist in the database table. So it throws invalid employee, invalid student ID exception. So that even we need to catch. So what is the recommended, what is the necessary suggestion we have to take? Add catch clause to surrounding try. Already two catches are there. You need to add one more catch to the existing catch clauses, catch blocks. Now let us execute this. Since 101 is existing there, oh, we retrieved but forgot to display. Sysout student, done. Retrieve, it is there. Nice. Now let us try to find a student which ID is not existing anywhere in the table. Okay, let us see. Student ID, student not found with the given ID 999, that is this. Okay, so connections, all of the connections safely we have closed and reduced or removed or prevented maximum possible code duplication. Okay, right here. What all other operations we are going to simulate here? Save. The purpose of save is to perform insert SQL command and then edit and then delete. These are the things left. Yeah, we will see. Now public string save is the method, right? Now when I want to save, I have to pass the ID of the student, name of the student, email of the student. So shall we pass those three arguments to the save method? No, that is not a good practice at all. So what is the recommended approach here? The best practice is to pass single student object. What is recommended here? To pass single student object. Now here return, simply let us keep simply quotations. As already I mentioned, the return type string is not really a string, it is just a placeholder of the return type, that's all. Incrementally we are developing. So it is technically, it is not at all string. Then what kind of data type, what kind of value we need to return upon successful saving? If you can think, the return type may be true or false, it is perfect, it is correct for now. But in upcoming sessions, in upcoming technologies, we are going to understand that the return type is not to be true, that we will see in upcoming technology areas. Okay, the return type as of now will have a boolean. Upon successful saving, it is going to, this method is going to return true, otherwise this method will return the false. So boolean result equals to false. Now let us return the result. So what is this result? Let us try to understand. The result variable value, we are going to flip from false to true based upon the success of insertion in the table. Okay, right, let us see that. String SQL equals to insert into student values. How many values we are going to give here? ID, name and email. So here you can give string concatenation you can use, otherwise you can use the placeholders like this, and you can use a prepared statement. Both are fine. Now here connection, did you remember how we got connection earlier? The same way we are going to get a connection now. But how do we safely close the connection? If you are planning to go ahead in the same way that we have done in the previous topic, that is find and find all, then the idea is not correct. What is the problem if I close connection here? Find all, that means select SQL command will never be part of any transaction, but all DML commands like insert, update, delete will participate in transaction management. I am repeating, insert, update, delete commands participate in transaction. So as these operations are part of a transaction, we should able to close the connection from outside so that we can safely either commit or roll back the connection. Okay, so in order to close the connection from outside, here we should have a connection class member variable so that the class member variable can be accessed from outside. What is that logic here? That let us see. Here this con is method local variable, so can we access this con from outside of this method? That means here can we access that connection anywhere? No, not at all. Or can we access that connection anywhere? Yeah, this is the connection, but any other method of this class is possible, can access that connection? Not at all. So what is the logic? What is the approach we need to use to properly close the connection? Let us think. Is insert or save the only method perform is going to be part of a transaction? No. Save, edit and delete. So three methods needs connection to be handled from outside. Why should we handle the connection outside? You may get a doubt. Perfect doubt, valid doubt. Yes. Let us think, let us recollect the definition of transaction. What is a transaction? Multiple DML commands participated in one logical operation as a whole is called transaction. Is there only single DML command? No, multiple DML commands. Maybe one to insert commands, one to update commands, one to again insert, after that delete. These all operations may be part of one transaction. Now this transaction means all of these DMLs are to be either saved or to be reverted. So how we can do that? For example, here student is there. So on student table we need to insert one record. Suppose fees payments is there. In fees payments table, one insert we should do. Then marks table is there. On marks table, in marks table we need to perform one insert command. Upon successful insertion of these three, we should commit. Otherwise, if any one of these three failed, we should revert. So student DAO in save should happen successfully. Fees DAO save operation should be executed successfully, and the same way marks DAO save method also is to be executed successfully. Then and only then we need to commit these three objects, these three DAOs connections. So these DAO should allow to handle the connection from outside. That is actually the point. How we can achieve that? Yes. Here, if I define connection on, right? Now, this connection we should close from outside. So, how do we close from outside? We need to define method here. Student DAO dot, that method we call, so that the connection will be committed and closed. We need to define another method. For example, method 1, method 2, public void method 1. So what is the job of method 1? If con not equals to null, then con dot commit and con dot close. Okay, so the commit and close methods throws exception, which we are not going to catch here. Instead of catching, we declare with throws. Right? Method 1. The same way method 2. The method 2 will roll back and close. So public void method 2. Here, if connection not equals to null, con dot roll back and con dot close. Again, rollback even throws the same SQL exception, so we need to use appropriate throws declaration. But how you can remember what is the purpose of method 1, what is the purpose of method 2? A standard guidance is you need to name methods based on the purpose of methods. Okay, so method 1, method 2, they are not reflecting this. The name of the method is not reflecting the functionality of the method. So here I will define the method as commit. Don't confuse here between the commit method of DAO and commit method of connection. Okay, the user, the application developer is not going to call the connection close. The application developer will only call DAO's commit, DAO's rollback. Yeah, this method 2 is rollback. Okay, that is all. Now, right, another question here. Student DAO. Since we have only single table, we have single DAO. But if we have student table, marks table, and then fees table, so what we have to do? Student DAO, marks DAO, and fees DAO. As many tables you have, as many DAOs you need to define. So these all DAOs will have the same again, commit, rollback, class level connection. Is this boilerplate or not? Again, this is boilerplate. So to prevent this boilerplate, again we need to recollect about one of the important object-oriented principles, object-oriented programming principles, that is inheritance. What is the thumb rule of inheritance? Where exactly we use inheritance? If multiple classes uses the same code, multiple classes are using the same code, we are not going to define the code in all of the classes that we extract and keep in the superclass. That we are going to do now. Technically, what should be the name of the superclass? Student DAO, marks DAO, and fees DAO. What should be the superclass for all these DAOs? Yes, simply DAO. That is all. Okay. So what is the superclass name? DAO. Right. Where do we define here? In DAO package, new class. The class name is DAO. Now in this class we define all common things what we are going to have in every class, that is connection con, okay, and then rollback and commit. Rollback and commit we are going to push into the DAO means superclass, right, and make the student DAO a subclass of DAO. Finished. Now my student DAO have connection member, class member variable, and two methods. They are commit and rollback. Okay, that connection, class level connection, we should use for these three operations: edit, save and delete operations. Which connection object we have to use here? Class level connection, so that we can either commit or roll back from outside, right? Again, there is a challenge here. So many challenges we are identifying and addressing. Okay, right? What is that? Commit of the DML. Since I am using MySQL database, in MySQL by default all DMLs what we are going to perform from even command line, they will be committed automatically. For example, so this is my standard pattern of using password, but in production the password will never be root, and the username even never be root. For different databases, different user accounts are created with the different privileges, and those users, the pair of username and password only can access the database table. Okay, here I am not going to use this in business. I am using simply the routinely, frequently, regularly used, easy to remember username and password. Okay, right. Show tables. What is my table here? Student. So insert into student, something I have done here. I am committing, automatically the modifications I am going to do on the table will be committed automatically. Auto commit is a property inside within the MySQL internal configuration. That configuration is that setting has been configured to true. Set auto commit to true means I cannot roll back after I have done any modification here. If I have inserted or updated or deleted, I cannot roll back. It is not giving me an opportunity to roll back. Now if I perform any DML operation from JDBC program, if database is not allowing to roll back, then what is the point of this rollback operation? Doesn't make any sense. So at database level we cannot do anything, but in application level we can do something. Where you have created a connection, that connection auto commit dot auto commit, set auto commit false. So what is this connection? Uncommitted connection. So if you try to retrieve any data from uncommitted connection, most of the databases will not permit. Let us see here. Student ID not found. Okay, 101. It is allowing to read uncommitted from uncommitted connection, but it is not at all good practice to read from uncommitted connection. So what do you do here? As soon as this is uncommitted connection, okay, now this uncommitted connection, before you are performing any SQL command, con commit, and then you perform your read operation here as well as here, con commit. Now let us get back to the actual operation context, that is our save operation. Right here, yeah, what connection you are going to use here? DAOs, class member variable con you are going to use. Okay, so since here in the application you have created student DAO equals to new student DAO, instantiated your student DAO. So immediately, as the result of instantiating a subclass, its superclass object will be created. As a result of superclass object created means what happened? This constructor called executed. So here the connection object is there, that connection object we got here. Okay, but as the result of this constructor called, everything is going to happen? No. Let us see here within the superclass constructor, the con equals to con, this con. Okay, right. For more comfort, more visible understanding, I am defining the class member variables at the top. Con equals to connection manager, not connection manager dot get connection manager dot get connection. Done. So hey, again, what is the problem here? Didn't you remember? Connection managers get a connection method throws multiple exceptions, class not found exception and SQL exception. So those are exceptions. What are the unhandled SQL exception that we have to declare with throws? Class not found exception as well as SQL exception. Done. Finished. Now, yes, come back here. When I call the constructor, what is the problem here? Yeah, in the application, when I call the subclass constructor called, as a result of superclass constructor invocation, exceptions are thrown. Those exceptions comes here. We need to address them. Yeah, we will see. Before that, again it is showing some error. Where is the error? Student DAO. Yes, class level error. What is the class level error? As the result of someone instantiation, this constructor, this class, since it is superclass, DAO's subclass, so DAO class constructors exception comes here. Okay, so what you have to do? This is a really tricky part. So public student DAO no arg constructor you define. Nothing to do here. Yes, nothing to do here. In that case, why should I define? There is no business requirement of defining this constructor. This is just application requirement. What is the application requirement? Just rethrowing the exceptions. That is all. Nothing more than that. Rethrowing the exceptions. Unhandled exception. So what is the suggestion it gives us? Unhandled exceptions. Yeah, it is not suggesting anything, so we do the code. We write the code manually. So throws SQL exception. Is it done? No. Class not found exception as well. Now the error has been fixed. Error fixed in this student DAO. Immediately error appeared in the application. What is that? See, the constructor invocation of student DAO throws exception. Now this instantiation even goes into the try block. Now all errors fixed. Class not found exception, again SQL exception. Yes, that SQL exception, sometime back we planned to convert the SQL exception to custom exception, right? Even in that way you can convert again. Otherwise you can as it is handle this exception. Okay, so if you closely observe here, the business related code is small, but application related, standards related, best practices related code is very longer. Yes, we have to do it. We have to do. The purpose of doing this lengthy code is to make the program executable, the application executable, or components are safely executable in any kind of environment, any kind of scenarios. So that was the reason the developer have to take a lot of pain while writing the Java program. Okay, right. We'll continue with this. Now, connection. You have any class? Anyways, you have class level connection con dot prepare statement. Prepare statement of SQL. So it returns me a prepared statement object. Prepared statement. So pstmt equals to now See, it is showing some exception. What to do? Error line. What to do? What to do with that error? Nothing. Just throws. You mentioned. Otherwise, sometime back, if you can recollect what we discussed sometime back, instead of throws predefined exceptions, what is recommended? What is the best practice? Catch the exception without killing the exception. Wrap the java.sql exception into custom exception. What is that? New database internal exception over the throwable e. New exception object you are creating and then again throwing. Okay, so now throws declaration you mentioned. Done. This is all. Okay. If you want, you can convert the previous in the application. What do we use? Not application, actually in DAO. Here, instead of throws SQL exception as it is, catch SQL exception here, convert it into database internal exception and then rethrow. If not here, you convert them here in the constructor of the student DAO. Here even you can catch the exception and you can rethrow in a different way. So many alternative approaches, but make sure to not kill the exception here where you caught. Convert the caught exception into layer specific exception and rethrow. That is the best practice here. Right, prepared statement you have in your hand. Now this prepared statement dot set int of 3 parameters you have. So first parameter will get the ID of the student. So student dot get ID and prepare statement dot set string. Second parameter ID name email. So second parameter is student dot get name and the third parameter is also string and student dot get email. So 3 parameters you pass to the prepared statement object. Now this is enough to execute. Prepare statement dot execute update. So this execute update method returns int. What is that int represents to? Here you can observe here the return int either 1 or row count for SQL DML statement. SQL DML either the row count, what it returns, either the row count or 0 if nothing has done in the database table. The number of records manipulated or modified with the given SQL DML command, the number of records, that number will be returned. Now execute update. So here, since we are performing insert operation, it is going to insert one record. The return value will be 1 and only 1. So if this returned 1, the result is true. That result will be returned. Did you notice here I am not closing the connection. I am not closing the connection. What I have to do to close the connection? Yes, here this is all for these all operations are for performing the select operation, select command. Done. Okay, find operation, find by ID and find all. Now student DAO equals to new student DAO of. Done. Immediately it showing error, that is exception it is throwing, so that you need to use try catch blocks. Okay, right, student DAO dot save you have to execute. First let us have a student class object. Student equals to new student of, you give parameters here. Before that, let us see what all details are there, what all records are there in student table. 101, 2 and 3. Yeah, 104. What is the 104 student name? Harsh, and his email is harsh at msn.com. I don't know whether msn.com mail is there or not. A random mail ID I have given. So student DAO dot save of student. Now the save method, what is it returning? It is returning true or false. Upon successful true, it returned DML operation is done. Now let us think even widely. Student DAO save successfully, marks DAO save done successfully, fees DAO also has done saved successfully. Now these three operations to be committed. Okay, so what to do? If this is true, then what to do? Yeah, actually in business what do we do? This operation is true, ampersand marks DAO dot save marks object, again ampersand fees DAO dot save fee object, then student DAO dot commit. Okay, else student DAO dot rollback. Okay, what is the problem here? Dot save method, it is returning SQL exception, right? So database internal exception, right? Add catch clause to surrounding try. Okay, now let us try to execute. Here commit time, during commit let us display a message sysout saved successfully, otherwise sysout failed to save. Okay, now let us execute. What is going to happen? Saved successfully, or is it saved successfully or not? Wow, fantastic, saved. Once again I'll execute the same command. So this time it will fail. The reason is here in this student table, describe student, the ID is primary key. So here I am trying to insert the same student again, that is same ID again I am trying to insert, so it will fail. What is the problem here? Did you notice? Database internal exception. What is the problem? SQL integrity constraint violation. That is actually SQL exception. That SQL exception has been wrapped by database internal exception and then caught here. Here it has been caught and then connection closed. Everything has done successfully. Okay. Again here closing them, committed, done everything successfully. Failed to save. Actually that failed to save message is not going to appear. The reason is as a result of executing this command where save, control jumped here into the catch. So we can expect that connection may not be closed. So in order to make it the connection to be closed safely, again here you need to write a finally block. That finally block should close the connection. In order to do that, student DAO equals to null. Okay, now outside the catch, finally student DAO dot either commit or rollback. Yeah, here you can roll back. Okay, again rollback throws exception. So yeah, right, it did not throw any error or what? Let me check. Null semicolon. Right, so these exceptions again to be caught here. Okay, so see here, we did not commit here, we only have done rollback. The reason is in finally we have to only roll back, we need not to commit. The reason is control whenever reached here, there is no problem of rolling back, there is no problem of exception, so that it successfully complete commit operation, and then as a result of commit, connection will be closed. But here, due to any reason during the save, if any error, anything went wrong, control will neither going to catch, neither going to else, nor anywhere. Directly it jumps out, exception thrown, and then comes out. The connection remains open. Now here you are rolling back. Here in rollback, you are closing the connection. As part of rollback operation, connection is getting closed. Let us see what is happening now. Finished. Okay. So duplicate entry. Now connection is no more open, connection closed. So this is the way you have to maintain DAO. Now in the similar way, edit and delete also should be implemented. Okay. So please go ahead and exercise with edit and delete operations. If you get any problem while you are experimenting with them, just feel free to connect me. Thank you for watching.